change slide.
Wow, so beautiful.
This was supposed to be a special music, but now we cannot play it. So the children were singing for church service, He is alive. And it was very alive. They were doing motions, and it was very wonderful. Next slide, please. My grace is sufficient for me, because His strength is made perfect in weakness. Thank you. Next slide. This is just a picture in the absence of my husband. He is staying behind to take care of the children. We take turns, because we don't have babies anymore, but we do have, especially this little girl. She's still very young, and she is very fearful, especially if he's not there. So she will cry a lot, and our hearts are too tender, but we don't like to see her cry.
How
So
old is she?
she's turning 10.
Wow.
Yeah, but she lost her mother at 1 month old, and I don't know if that's why she's so attached, but she's very attached to us. She's a wonderful, intelligent, lovely little child. Next slide, please. So this is just, I know most of you know our story, and I'm not going to go over that, but it's been 16 years since we left for Thailand. What was supposed to be a 1 year in mission service as a family has grown. And it's been 15 years ago since we evacuated the children to our little house there. 120 children, and Sunshine Orchard grew out of that. Can change slide. And it was a twofold situation there. We got the 120 children, and then we started to get orphans into our home. And so these are just some of the children that were given to us and that now are entering their teens, which is unbelievable. But so next slide. That was our first little family picture in our bamboo hut that we lived in for 3 years. And we all each had a baby in our arms. Our daughter Maria in the back on this side in blue, she has her own son in that picture. She just recently were able to adopt him and another boy that's not so little anymore, legally. Our children are stateless. We only have one boy in our home that is not stateless, and the rest of them don't have ID. And so their futures, without having the hope of Jesus, can be pretty glim, and not so much hope. But next slide. This was the next picture. Children grew up a little bit, and the next picture. We jumped one, but that's okay. We had one picture that I think we missed it. We had one picture 3 years ago that are showing our present, the way our home looks today. So, why is this picture here? Okay, maybe we should jump over this picture. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah. These are our these are former students that are teachers at Sunshine Orchard.
Amen.
Yeah. So presently we have about 35 young people that used to be students that are working at the school and in the mountain schools. And they are very precious young people. We kind of handpicked them. Some of them been sponsored through college and have come back, and others come to us after 12th grade.
I have a question.
Yes?
The kids that don't have certificates that you said don't have a future, can they leave the compound or the orphanage, or are they just there forever? Can they, what's their
When they are little, we can travel freely with them
Okay.
without being questioned. But actually, after COVID and more trafficking, more awareness of human trafficking, it's becoming difficult. When we were returning home with delivering Anson back to Bangkok, and my husband was going with him, we had 2 children with us to say goodbye, and we were not allowed through the checkpoint, one of the main checkpoints, because I did not have proof that these were my children. I did not have proper ID for them. And so we had to turn around and put Anson and my husband on the bus. So they are growing up. And so for the first time, we are able to make student cards for the kids. And so they will at least have student cards, which means that they are legally in Thailand for education and care. So that is a positive. Yeah, you can go ahead. Okay, just another, we're not in order, so we will see how this will go, but we will improvise. Another young man that's a teacher who was evacuated with the school at the very beginning. He's a wonderful young man. Go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead. This young woman in blue, she is helping with administration at the school. She was sponsored through college in bachelor's in education, and the woman that she's hugging, she's her Thai sponsor for getting her master's. And so she's working at Sunshine, helping us, but she's also studying online for her master's degree. We are very blessed with very young, wonderful young people. Next slide. Okay, just bear with me, okay? So the situation in Burma, the violence, the fighting, the war has escalated the last few years to where most of the country is in civil war, and the military is attacking churches and schools, hospitals, clinics, and even Buddhist temples. Anywhere where they feel that opposition might be, and which is pretty much the whole population. And so because of this situation, we have grown the last few years in our attendance. Go ahead. Okay, so this picture is telling the story about our students. Because of the conflict in Burma, we are having students that are coming from all over Myanmar, Burma. Before we just ministered to the Karen ethnic minority. Now we are ministering to the Burmese, the Kachin, the Chin, all the different ethnic minorities, plus the Burmese people themselves. We have students coming that have never heard of Jesus. And we also have more Adventist young people that come from inland that are fleeing. And so this woman and her 2 teenage daughters, they lived in an area of conflict, and they had to hide they had to dig a hole under their house and hide in there, sleep there at nighttime for airstrikes. And just before they were able to escape, they witnessed their closest neighbor and friend being violated. The whole family, the wife and daughters, were violated and murdered, and the husband was killed too. And this prompted them to find a way of escape, and they made it to Thailand, and they had heard of Sunshine Orchard, and she applied for a job as a teacher and the girls were able to attend college. But these are the kind of young people that we now have. Very many of their parents are imprisoned, or they are from areas where there's constant bombing. Next slide. This was our school 3 years ago. This was our school body of 350 students. Go ahead. Okay. This one was last year. This is the upper grade 7th through 12th. Next slide. And this was the primary school from kindergarten through 6th grade. And we grew for 600 students last year.
Wow.
Next slide. Okay, it's not there, but, we don't have. This year we are 800 students. They come to us and they cry. They actually weep. They say, we haven't had school for, now it's 4 years. It's not safe in our homes, in our areas. Please accept us. And so, in spite of not really having room for them and having struggled financially, we still felt like we had to accept as many as possible. And so this is just, it was a picture belonging to our teachers, blessing of the young people that we have. This young man that's teaching, he went to Bible seminary for 2 years and is come to bless us at Sunshine Orchard. Go ahead.
Where is he from, Lena?
He's somewhere from in current state.
Okay.
Yeah. He did not grow up an Adventist. So now I'm so grateful for the slides, but they're not in order. But praise the Lord for the slides. They help me a lot.
Actually, we don't know the order, so.
Yes.
You don't know the difference.
Yeah, good for you. I will just be jumping a little bit, so not so cohesive. But this is graduation in March of this year. Our school year goes from June to March, and so we don't have a building that can hold 800 students. At that time, it was 600 students. So the students and the teachers together, they erect this huge bamboo structure with cloth on top, hoping it will not rain. And we had graduation for 12th grade, and then they do 10th grade. Next slide. Another picture of that. Go ahead. Oh, another picture of teachers. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, this one. Go ahead. About a year and a half ago, we were blessed to get an evangelist by the name of Dustin Pestlin to come and preach to us. He has a YouTube channel that's called Hope Through Prophecy. Hope Through Prophecy. And he was able to give the message very clearly to the young people. It was very wonderful. And the young man in red is actually our pastor of our campus church. Next slide. And at this baptism was unique, being that there was mostly girls. It's never happened before. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Let's see if there's more.
In the years that we've been there, we've had maybe 360 baptisms. So when you look at Philippines or Papua New Guinea or something, that's nothing. But for us, we are very grateful for the young people that have given their hearts to Jesus.
I'm seeing if I have more pictures that were sent.
Oh, really?
Because I apologize.
Are those that are not baptized, then what do they do when they graduate? Where do they go? They're not going out as teachers or as lay ministers, so where are they going?
So they have different options. Some of them will go for trade training, like vocational training. They are that for the migrant community. They might get a job of some sort. Some of them, so being that that most of them are stateless, we don't have accredited diplomas for them yet. But the Adventist College in Burma has accepted all of our students that want to continue their education. And right now, for the first time this year, we're partnering with the Myanmar Union, the church, for accreditation.
Wonderful.
And so that will give the students the option to go to AIU or other colleges. Normally, the students can go 1 year in Burma to college, and then they can transfer to Adventist schools in Thailand. So this year we have about 7 young people going to Bible seminaries, Adventist, and then we of course we accept a few to teach at our school. And then we have young people that are Adventists, that are hired as Bible workers by the church. We have young people that are hired that go back into Burma to be trained on the border area, trained for medical, and they are hired to do medical work. Yeah, and it seems like God blesses them, and a lot of young people are in service for the Lord.
To me, to look at your pictures each time you come, because they're always 100% these smiling, happy faces. It's amazing.
Sometimes, things are not always easy, and so I can get discouraged. But if I get discouraged, I just need to go to worship.
Yeah.
See the smiling faces and hear their singing. They really sing with all their hearts. And when you think of this, there's a lot of Buddhist children, but they really, they sing about Jesus.
Amen.
And some become disowned when they get baptized. But often that's not for very long. And so so anyway, God always have something, God makes a way for the young people. Some are not baptized because of fear of their parents.
When they're disowned, it's because their parents, I presume it's because their parents don't want them to be Christians. Is there some faith they want them to be?
We recently had, we actually have a fair amount, I would say we have 70% Buddhist from strong Buddhist homes. Then we might have 20% from Sunday Christian homes. This is new students. And then we have a smaller percentage of Adventist students. But we do have a core group of Adventist baptized students. And every year when they graduate, we wonder, what is going to happen next year. But somehow the students arise and they become like Bible workers within the school campus. So they minister to the new students and share Jesus with them. And being that we don't have all the slides, we have a choir. We have 2 choirs. And these young people, they go out pretty much every Sabbath to do outreach. They encourage smaller churches, and they will sing, they will do the worship service, they will teach Sabbath school, and that's a witness. And also there was a slide in there showing that the last 2 years we've been very blessed, and I prayed for years for the young people to have the opportunity for music. And because this music orchestra program, they cannot go into Burma anymore to teach in there. They are coming to Sunshine Orchard because we are in a central location. And so they come, there's teachers, people that are gifted with music that come from Korea, America, Indonesia, Malaysia, and maybe Philippines. And they bring the instruments for our students. Last year we had 50 students attending, and this year we had 100 students that attended, and each of them were given a cello or a flute or a violin or a different trumpet instrument to play. And by the end of 10 days, they're actually able to have an orchestra. Beck is nodding his head because I played it for him. And so
it was really impressive.
after 10 days,
Yes.
yeah. And so then they also teach them choir. And so, and actually one of the teachers of this group, which is called ASAF, he came and he just asked us, can I please come in December and I will just do a choir for Christmas for a concert. And so we said, sure, you can come. And so that was very, very exciting. Another thing that has happened that's different, that the last year, the last year, is that gospel outreach has they are paying for the salaries of 47 of our teachers. And so that's a real amazing blessing. And it makes a lot of more work for our daughter Anna that has to send in reports and stories. The teachers are hired like gospel teachers. And so every 3 months they have to send in a story about what God has done or how they have shared Jesus with their students. And so Anna has to translate that and enter it into gospel outreach computer. But it's worth it. It's amazing to have teacher salaries every month and not need to worry about that. God has been so faithful. And so gospel outreach came on when we grew to 600 students. And then this year, earlier this year, we were contacted by Child Impact, former USAID, I think. USAID, I think. It's an Adventist organization that does child sponsorship. And they contacted us and said, we've heard of Sunshine Orchard, we want to come and visit and see if we can partner. And so they came to visit, and they committed to 100, originally 200 students, but they backed off to start with 100 because we don't have the administrative staff to, even for 800 students, we only have 2 people in the office. And so, and we have to make reports to the Thai government for 800 students. It's a lot of work. And so, anyway, so they said that if at the end of the year you can manage more, we will increase how many students we will sponsor. But they built us this year a lower grade girls dormitory and a lower grade boys dormitory. There's already students in there. They saw the need when they came, and they provided that without question. And then now they have, with this year's increase, we don't have enough classrooms. And we have double classes from grade 1 through 12. 2 classes, 2 classes, 2 classes. Yeah. And so we built a temporary bamboo building, very long to fit our lower grades. And 3 days before school started, a heavy storm came, heavy rain, and a storm came, and it flattened the whole building. We were just very surprised because the Karen people really know how to do bamboo construction. It was like Satan said, we're going to discourage you or something, I'm not sure. But we still had our vocational places, and we used old kitchen and use living rooms and wherever we can put kids. We have kids this year. And so, and we praise the Lord that the desks and the chairs and the blackboards were not destroyed in that building. Only one desk and one blackboard was destroyed. And so that was a miracle because it was flattened. And so, but Child Impact said that they've already given us money, but we haven't been able to start to build a sixth grade, 6 classrooms. And the Japanese government is building right now another 6 classrooms, which means that we would have all the. And so God has really, we've grown, and we made that step in faith. It was a difficult step to do because honestly, we're struggling with our monthly budget. And so, but the teachers and everyone got together and, what are we going to do? And we decided that we need to accept them. They have nowhere else to go. And so, taking that step, God is providing little by little. But I came to America because ever since I wrote in a newsletter that Child Impact and Gospel Outreach are helping us, we are not getting our monthly budget like before. In the month of June, by the 27th, I contacted the treasurer for Chatal International and asked how much had come in, and she said 1,800, and that we need about 15,000. And so I thought, God, we had 3 months of a very extremely low amount like that, and I had sent out newsletters asking for help, and I felt like I was just really turn off all the readers. And so I thought, God, I can't do it again. And so, but within 2 days, she called me and she said, Lena, she was crying. We were all crying. She said, someone sent $8,000. And that brought us up to around 10,000, which we can get by. It's just that the food for the kids and the rice, we go in debt for the rice, and the food is compromised. But we can squeak by. And so so the story about that 8,000 was very miraculous. I got the name of the man, never heard the name before. No one that I knew heard of this name. And I Googled him, and he was in Washington State. And I thought, I've never been there, don't have any contacts in this place. And then Meg emailed me, and she told me that you contacted me, and you told me that she had found old brochures, and she had erased the old stuff and inserted new stuff, and she had put this in places where she had been, anywhere she could think of, and which really touched my heart. And then she said, oh, a man from this place, he's donated. And she said his name is so-and-so. And I said, that's the man. And so anyway, and then she kept asking me, can you go speak at Tenino, Washington? And I thought, where's Tenino? At the same time, my daughter in the back, she had a car accident and totaled her car, and an aunt of hers had offered her her car, but she had to come and pick it up in Centralia, Washington. And we thought, wow, that's a long trip. But when I Googled Tenino, and it was 5 minutes away to where Emily was going to pick up her car. And so we thought, okay, let's go pick up your car. And so we took the train from Montana to Portland to Centralia, and then we picked up her car, and then we went to the little church where this man went to church, and got to meet him. And he just had seen that brochure and had felt impressed to send the money.
Amen.
And that's just so amazing to me, how God always have, we try to do our part because that's our responsibility. But he so often he shows us that he already has things under control. And you know, I read stories like that for my children when they were growing up, and about someone not having money or not having food for their children, and they get at the edge of despair, and God already sent them a box for Christmas or something like that. But this is what we have seen over and over and over again, how God provides. And just one more thing. So coming here to America, I thought, oh, ASI is happening right now. It's going to happen in 2 weeks. And I thought maybe this would be wise to go to ASI. And it's been 8 years ago that we were there last. And I thought, we don't have the money. It's all the way in Florida. There's no way we can go. And so we started to pray about it. We asked Chathal's board to pray about it. And I went with Meg's family to Othello to share. And one of the older women, she gave me an envelope, and she said, this is for you, yourself. And I said, can I use it towards ASI if God would open up the door? And she said, oh yes, you have to go to ASI. And she called on her husband, and he gave me more money to go to ASI. And so we were able to go to ASI. And I was convinced that my younger daughter, Anna, who does the administration for Sunshine Orchard, that she needed to go to ASI with me because, yeah, she does things better than I do. And so anyway, and so she flew in Wednesday night, the first day of ASI from Thailand, and within the next day, I don't know how, but she had an interview with 3ABN, and she had an interview with something called 7 something. I've never heard of it before. And so Network 7, it's an Adventist something. And so anyway, while she was sharing at Network 7, the man that was interviewing her, he thought, oh, here's just another blonde with some not so interesting story. That was his attitude. He told her afterwards. And so after she had shared, he was crying. And he came to our booth later and just really was touched. And then 3ABN came back. They had done a 7-minute interview with her, and they told her that she needed to apply for a 3ABN interview, like the 50-minute thing. And they said, we don't invite, you need to apply, and then it's 2 months for us to decide and to invite you to come. And so anyway, she's not going to stay here 2 months. She has family in Thailand. And so we came back to Montana, and suddenly she shows me a screenshot. She says, Mom, 3ABN wants me to come for Tuesday. And so they called her for this coming Tuesday for 9 o'clock in the morning. So please pray for her, that she will do a good job, clearly present.
She's going to fly too.
She already did. So a Korean church in Kansas City called on her, and she flew out yesterday morning. She was supposed to come with me here, but she flew out yesterday morning to Kansas, and then they will drive her the 8-hour trip to 3ABN. And so we don't know what God has in store, but it seemed very providential, very amazing to me how God worked step by step by step. And so we're very grateful to God. We know that these are His children, and that it's not because of us that He's done all these amazing miracles all these years and in providing for the children. It's because these children are very precious and they're His. And so He has a plan for them. He wants them to know Jesus. And so I'm sorry I'm way over time. But
I did see more pictures come through if you wanted to.
we can just slip through them. Okay.
Don't hurry.
Are you
Just
sure?
don't hurry. Take your time. You don't see anybody looking at the clock. Just take your time.
It's our clock. Okay, so there's.
Okay, this is one of our, so we have 2 mountain schools. This is our little mountain school of 50 students. And it used to be in this dirt floored building within the completely Buddhist village. Now we have a few baptized students in this village, but next picture. The head man, who is a Buddhist, he gave this property to the school, and you can go. Wow. And we now have a building that doesn't have a dirt floor in it, and they want a dormitory, but we don't have a dormitory yet there. And so these children come to school with devil strings. They're not boarding students, but they want them to be boarding students so that they can have a more immersion experience with God. But they come to morning worship, they came for Friday evening worship, and they come for Sabbath worship. Yes?
Lena, with the 2 mountain schools,
Yes.
Sunshine Orchards is supporting over 1,000 students, right?
Yes. And so that monthly budget that we have, more and more is going to the mountain schools as they have more and more needs.
So your budget over the last few years or the number of students has tripled.
Yes.
Over the last
Go ahead. That's just, they don't have separate schoolroom classes. They do what they can. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's that picture of our existing family missing 6 of our kids. They were away at the time. Go ahead. That's our family on a Sabbath morning breakfast. And so, go ahead. This is just, we are the white little dot there, right on the border of Burma. That's Karen State, Burma. And there's a lot of conflict. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. That's just showing a map maybe 2 months ago of all the pink areas are the people controlled areas by the people. So the Burmese army or the government that took the country with a coup in 2021, they have less and less area that they control. But there is fighting all over these areas. Go ahead.
That's all for now.
Okay.
If you can see, they kind of come out of order.
Yes.
And some are missing.
Yeah.
So I think that's all of them currently.
Yes. So we have another mountain school that was not shown there. That's actually very, very, very amazing mountain school. Has 180 students, and 150 of them are boarding students, and it has a very good leadership, and is staffed by our students. And so that one has grown a lot. The kids come from areas that are being bombed, and this is in a relatively safe area, so that's why they come there. And so they are true, when the kids come to these schools, they pretty much live the Adventist lifestyle. They have morning and evening worship. They pray for every subject in class. They sing a song for pretty much every subject, and they have Bible classes. And then, if they are boarding students, they live at the school and have Sabbath worship. And overall, they get a taste of what it is like being a Christian, an Adventist Christian. And so I pray and hope that will have an impact in even those lives that are not choosing Jesus at this time. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your prayers. And thank you for your support through the years. It's meant everything to us.
Let me ask one other question. Apparently the Burmese army has been trying to annihilate these people ever since World War II. How much long can this go on before there's any Karen people left? It's just amazing to me.
So what we see that is different now, it's the pretty much the whole people of Burma are standing up against the dictatorship. And so the elected government they are imprisoned. And so the Burmese people, they for the first time have the experience that these ethnic minorities have had, for especially the Karen people, but all ethnic minorities have more or less been persecuted, but especially the Karen people. And so, and then the Rohingya people were persecuted a few years back, and they've got a lot of news attention. But some people believe that if China and Russia was not holding hands with Burma, with supplying them with jet fuel, etc., that the people would be able to win this battle. But it looks like it will be dragged out. And so the dictatorship, which I call it the junta, they have made forced military conscription this year, because they are losing so many soldiers to the ethnic or to the people, that they are now forcing young people and men and women to join the army. And these people are pretty much sent out to the front lines to fight their own people, which they don't have. That's the least thing they want to do. And so that's another reason why we have so many students, because they come to the border areas. But Burma as a whole has not been evangelized. And so it's mostly the ethnic minorities that have come to been exposed to the gospel. And so these young people that come to the border schools, border areas, where schools are mushrooming up, ASAP, which is an Adventist organization, they are paying salaries in our area for 32 schools. And so we used to be the only school, and we are one of the only schools on the Thai side. These other schools are on the Burma side along the border areas. But, and so young people come to the border areas and they learn about Jesus. And by God's grace, they can bring this back with them to have Burma ready for Jesus' coming. And so, yeah. Any other questions?